Guys, I'm live. Good morning, everybody. So we'll wait for a few minutes for others to join. I'll just check the reception by now. Hi, Asha. Good morning. So you're the first joining. Hey, Shahana. Good morning. Nandini, good morning. Hi, Vikrant. So I've just checked the audio. It's working fine. So any technical issues, just do let me know on the chat. I'll check from my end if something can be done. So it's 7:01. So we'll start exactly at 7:05. Tulika, good morning. Where are the young chaps? Ranga and Tatapi. Pooja also has not arrived yet. Yeah, Ranga. Here is Ranga. Good morning, Ranga. So we'll start at 7:05 exactly. Tathapi also has arrived. Welcome, Tathapi. Good morning. Only Pooja is left to join, it seems. No, who else? Pooja. Okay, Kajal will not be able to join, it seems. So only Pooja is left to join. Seven o four. As I mentioned yesterday, that will start with silence of 90 minutes, 90 seconds, sorry. So, because that will bring our attention to the topic, and at the end also we'll do the same 90 seconds silence, so that the informed materials go into the mind properly. Right, so it's 7:05 now. On your screen you will find a kind of ticking clock to show the time, but don't worry, there will be a dong also to conclude. So it's 90 seconds. You can just close your eyes and go into the silence, and then after that we'll start our session. Good morning. Let us start our journey. Yesterday it was just intro. So welcome to the formal first session of this Sai Solution Foundation course on nature and life. So see, like Asha could not attend yesterday's session, but she knows the basics of nature cure, so that was discussed yesterday. Now this is something what we are going to start today is a way to look at life, to sync with nature under some kind of new paradigm or new set of perspectives. Though we'll be starting with the lifespan framework, the video clips that you were watching at the background, we'll start that after this first session. So first session, just let me know who all are into regular exercising. So first session, I'll talk about exercise little. So ideally we should do exercise. In the camps we do that, but before doing the exercise, before practicing, if we understand the why behind, it enhances our confidence, and that makes the practice long term. So that's the reason behind this particular session. So in this particular session we will be talking about exercises, but not kind of specific exercises, but the reason behind exercise. Welcome Pooja. We have just started after the silence. So right, so all have reached the session. That's great. Now let's start our session, exercises. So yesterday we understood that the toxemia. So let's recap little about those aspects also before we explain the exercise reasons, because that will help us to understand. So I'll just flip through the basic understanding of Nature Cure with these two foundations, the voice of the organism and the law of unity. So these two foundations, the voice of the organism is understanding the feelings. If the feelings are good, then we need to go back to the origin of the stimulus or stimuli to find out whether that is natural or artificial. If it is natural, then we need not to worry anything, but embrace as much as possible that feelings. Now, if it is not natural, artificial, then we need to discard it. And irrespective of the origin, the bad feeling creating stimulus should not be suppressed but discarded completely. And I have given example of apple, apple jam and chili. Apple is a natural stimulus which creates good feeling. We can have ample of apples. Apple jam is an artificial stimulus, may give us the good feelings, but we should discard it. Now chili is an irritating substance. We should not bluff ourselves by mixing chili and putting it inside. So this is what is the voice of the organism. And law of unity says that we should not focus on the symptoms first, but we need to find out the cause behind. If we address the cause, then the symptoms as a byproduct will go away. So these two foundations actually lead us to understand. Okay. Right. So just answer this question that I asked, that who are all into regular exercising. So Nandini says that she is regular into walking and all. So I expect answers from each and everyone. By that time we will just recap this. So if we keep on defying law of unity and the voice of the organism, then the toll occurs on the vitality, and we understand that the vitality is a fixed quantum. Yesterday we understood that dialectically. Now when that toll on the vitality occurs, then we end up depleting our vitality beyond a limit, and that is termed as innervation. And when we get innervated, then our output from the body in terms of excretion and elimination also get affected. It gets reduced. When there is an output reduced, that time actually what happens is our toxins in the body will be retained. So our body will be retaining toxins, and that stage is called toxemia. And this is the single disease that is identified by Nature Cure. And whatever the symptomatic name that we may give, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, arthritis, spondylitis, whatever. This is just, these are just forms of toxemia. The toxin retention causes the symptoms, and we name the symptoms according to our experiences. Now, with that, actually, I'd like to go back to our previous discussion on exercises, because this is very much important, that exercise, why the exercise is required. Now, we understood that the toxemia equals to equals to increase in density. Okay, I get few answers. Right. Tulika is into daily exercise. Ranga also. Tathapi also. Vikrant, no exercise. Frank and clear. So I expect a change in the view after this session, because this session will be, even though you have taken Sai Solution courses earlier, but this particular session is new for you, and puja goes for 30 minutes of walk. That's excellent, awesome. Most of the people are into the exercise regime. Now let's understand how it affects our vitality. Now we know that yeah, Asha is also into yoga. Great, Asha, thanks. So now density is directly proportional to the mass, we know, right? Mass, the density if higher, then the mass also will be higher of a fixed volume. We know this D equals to M upon V, density equals to mass upon volume. Now there is a relation with speed of any substance with the mass. If the speed and mass to be explained into this relation, then these are reciprocals. These are not directly proportional but inversely proportional. So if the mass is more, then the speed will be less, right? And so up to here we'll conclude. Now the heat is another aspect which will come later on, but here now we need to understand, in the toxemic state, speed is less, rather lesser if we use a comparative term. So a healthy state versus the toxemic state, that speed in toxemic state is lesser than the healthier state. So this is understandable, I suppose. Now if that is there, that means the circulation within the body is affected when we are suffering from toxemia. So if that is there, so the primary execution is just work on the density directly. So improve the food, the density will be improved and the toxemic state will be reduced. So density reduction means toxemia reduction. Now see, one thing is fine, the direct thing, but we have lot of standby systems, within our body. I am from aviation background, so I tell you, in the aircraft you will find lot of standby systems. When an aircraft crashes, before that multiple standby systems crash first. So one after another they take over. So it's a beautiful machine that has been built by mankind, and with a lot of standby systems. So the body is again a beautiful creation by nature, which has got tremendously scientifically rather sketched or programmed standby systems. Now, if the density can be addressed directly, why not to support it with some kind of speed enhancement also? That's the rationale behind this toxemia reduction. So, if we can increase the speed, so if we conclude that the speed is inversely proportional to the mass, and we know that density and mass are directly proportional, then we can definitely tell that the speed is inversely proportional to the density. So that means if we wish to reduce the density, then we can enhance the speed a bit without innervating ourselves, because the innervation is the primary criteria. So the circulation enhancement is the objective of the circulation enhancement is the objective of the exercise, and this has got a direct impact on the density, because the moment we, without innervating us, we enhance the speed, the reduction of the density occurs, and that also has got an impact on the heat. More the speed, more the heat also. We experience that when we exercise, then we feel the heat, right? But definitely, repeatedly I am saying that without innervating in the process, without innervating us within the process. And who will tell whether we are innervating or not? Our tiredness. We should not stress ourselves while doing exercises so that we are tremendously tired during the exercise. So to become tired is not the objective of the exercise. It's a stretchable exercise that is recommended in Nature Cure, right? Okay, so no, there's no question. Now, so when we understand this relation between density, speed and heat, now let's go a little further about the spinal importance. So for doing the exercise, another aspect we need to remember. So that was the first rationale is to enhancement of the speed. Now the second rationale is the spine. See, the spine is the central axis of the body. Central axis of the body, the meaning of the central axis is, it is the center pole of the body. So that means the masses so if it is the center pillar, then the masses both the side, if M1 and M2, then the masses should be equal. Then the spine will be in a relaxed state. So the mass both the sides, mass on both the sides of the spine should be equal all the time. So whatever the posture you may have, in a sitting position or standing position or lying down position, the spine should be at the center of the body. If we just sit like this for longer time, we'll find exertion at the spine. For the longer time, consciously we realize it, but for shorter time, it is there. The toll is there on the spine. So as less as possible imbalance on the spine is the objective. Now while saying this, why I am mentioning this in the exercises? Because see, in the exercises we have different postures, you know. So I need not to tell about specific exercises, but you can go to YouTube and find a lot of exercises. For example, Surya Namaskar is one of the best exercises. Somebody mentioned also that every day she does Surya Namaskar. So here we need to understand that all the postures should be complemented on each of the sides, in both the sides. So if you are doing this way, one posture, it should be complemented by this way also. So by that you will be giving the central axis a relaxation, the spinal relaxation. So the spinal relaxation during the exercise is very much important, and all the postures, if you are lifting one leg, it should be complemented with other leg lift. So that way the exercise should be balanced both the sides, right? Now at the beginning of our life, during the birth, actually we have our solar plexus, the navel. So navel was the CG. You understand what is CG? Center of gravity. So spine is the central axis, and navel is center of gravity. Some question I see. What is the best posture for sleeping? So best posture for sleeping, I recommend lying on the back, keeping both the sides of the body equal, keeping the spine straight. Now this is the start of the sleep, obviously. After you get into the sleep, you don't have any control. Tulika asked what is the best posture for sleeping. So to answer that, I repeat that the lying on your back, keeping the spine straight is the right posture while starting the sleep. And after you sleep, you don't have to worry, because the body will guide you which turn you should take. And that turning within the sleep is very much needed to massage your body. The circulation gets improved, and the beyond conscious portion of our existence decides that those turnings. So you need not to worry about that, but at the starting point we should be in a neutral spine exertion. There should be. So yeah, coming back, the solar plexus or the navel region, so navel point rather. So it's a point, right? So through which we were connected with our mothers. Now that Navi, in Hindi it's called Navi, the solar plexus is to be the center of gravity. Now what is the center of gravity? Center of gravity, I can just show you something. So center of gravity is a single point which holds the complete mass. You see, the complete mass is hold. So this point is the center of gravity of this object, right? Yeah, for an example, I have a probe also. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. So you see, for this object, this is the center of gravity, which can hold the complete object. So for us, the solar plexus is that. But look at the people around and also to us. Do we have the same CG now? It's not. So over time, because of the drift in the lifestyle, we born with that kind of capability to hold our body weight on our navel region. But over time, it becomes imbalanced. So while doing the exercise, you cannot do any exercise on the point, right? The solar plexus cannot be exercised, but it has to be observed. So navel observation is one thing you need to check going forward, that every day when you do exercise, you should observe your navel and the changes in the navel. The structure, the confidence, everything will be changing slowly and gradually when you do consistently. When you do it consistently. And many of you, for example, Sahana is a yoga teacher. She will tell better that this happens. This happens effectively when somebody does regular exercise. right? Now next is little longer topic, lymph nodes. So this is one of the major reasons for doing exercises. So Vikrant, please pay attention on this, and this you need to take notes also, because this is not there in the notes. Osmosis process. This is very simple. Like those who are not having science background, they should not get scared that okay, now something physics is being taught. But this is very simple. Yeah, keep on typing your question. I'll just take those. Yeah, I have some questions here. Asha asks that I learned this at a nature cure center. Lie down on the stomach and keep a cup on your navel for 3 minutes. Deep breath and your plexus shifts. If I have a stomach pain, I do this, it sometimes helps. Strengthening of core is said to help balance the body. Right. So what Asha shares here is helping directly the navel to get shifted. Now that's a kind of acupressure method which sometimes is adapted, but don't do it on yourself. It's under some expert, you can try it, that has got impact, and nature cure identifies acupressure processes many a time. So this is a practice which is done by the experts. Don't try it yourself, please. Just learn it, then you try it. And this online way, we cannot explain that process explicitly. Right. Thanks, Asha, for mentioning that. Okay. Something more. Asha says, on the subject of exercise, what would be the best way to add some muscles? Uh, After adopting a natural lifestyle, I lost weight and look thin. Next question is Nandini. I just hold the stomach in consciously and remain stout. Yes, very good process. So, yeah, Asha. So, as it is, I'll ask why muscles, right? So, to look good is not understandable, you know. So, if you feel yourself good, that's enough. If you look thin and feel good, what is the problem? Right? So answer that. I'll get back to that again. Now we were talking about the osmosis process. So osmosis process is a process where two liquids, the youngsters, you can correlate because recently you might have studied this. So two liquids separated by a permeable membrane, two liquids of different density. So we were talking about the density. Now this is small d, this is capital D, or rather let's write it outside. So capital D is more than small d. So small d is this density of this particular number 1 liquid, and number 2 liquid is denser. If these are separated through by a permeable membrane, then the liquid will flow from less denser to the denser region, and this will become right. Yeah, so Asha acknowledges the answer. Thank you, Asha. So here now the density will be changing for both the sides of the liquid. So now the liquid will be transferring from the lower denser to the higher denser on its own because of the atmospheric pressure. So I am not going that detail, but definitely you need to just find out yourself, or later on we can discuss. The atmospheric pressure works here. The atmospheric pressure at this side is higher because of the lesser density here, and this side it is lesser, so it will go up. The level on the denser side will go up. Now, so this is what is the osmotic or osmosis process. Now, we need to understand the reverse osmosis process also. Now, the reverse osmosis process is just reverse of that. Irrespective of the density, so this is small d, this is capital D, suppose. So both the sides. Now here one pump will be fitted. Now this pump will push the liquid against the natural flow, so that the denser liquid will drift to the less dense liquid. So this is what is the RO system. So let me know if you are clear about these two processes. Then I will go to the lymph nodes. So osmosis process, I repeat, is a natural process rather, through which, because of which the less dense liquid get transferred to the higher dense side through a permeable membrane. And the natural example is the roots of the plants actually gets water through this natural process. So there is no suction available in the plants to get the water from the ground. It's a natural process of osmosis through which the water flows from the ground to the trees. So the roots works as a semi-permeable membrane, right? Now the reverse osmosis is just opposite to this. It is against nature, and it is through a pump. The dense liquid is pushed through the membrane to go to the less dense region, right? Now this is unnatural, I am saying, keeping that perspective in mind, that the roots, water and this thing. But within our body both the processes are there, the reverse osmosis and the osmosis both. Now let's see. This is very interesting. This can be termed as blood lymph cells. Right. Now suppose it's a magnifying blood circulation. Now before this we need to understand how the nutrients get transferred from the food to the cells in the anabolic process. We discussed about this yesterday. Now the food we take from here, then it goes through the food pipe to the stomach, then through the stomach it goes to the small intestine region. So the primary digestion happens in the stomach. Throughout the process it happens, but through the stomach it goes to the small intestine, and that is the nutrition rich food at the small intestine. So at the small intestine region, the primary absorption of the nutrients happen, right? So suppose this is small intestine, and the nutrients are absorbed here. So this is an osmosis process. So I'll write it as OP. You need to understand. I'll give you this PDF also. OP. So osmosis process, because the food nutrients will be less dense and the blood will be higher dense. So the food nutrients will be passing through this permeable membrane, the membrane separating the small intestine and the blood veins. So now the food particles, the nutrients comes to here. Now this has to go to the cells. Cells, suppose, is here. So this is one cell. Now this cell needs that particular nutrient to be reached. Now who negotiate that as a mediator is the lymph. So lymph transmits the nutrients to the cell. Now here the blood circulatory system is fitted with a pump, which is the heart. Now that pump works to reverse the osmosis process, because this is denser and here the RO works. So I'll just mark the densities also. Here D, D1, here D2, here D3, here D4. So through the RO reverse osmotic process, the nutrients are transferred to the lymph. Right. Now the lymph will be very less dense liquid. Now this less dense liquid will help the nutrients to reach to the cell through an osmosis process. So this is the flow. Now the relation between the densities, so D2 will be more than D1 and D2 also will be more than D3 and D4 will be more than D3. So I'll repeat, the density within the small intestine in the blood, the food nutrients, this is the density of the food nutrients, is lesser than the density of blood, and here the osmosis process works. Here the osmosis process works. Then from the blood to the lymph, the reverse osmosis works, and from the lymph to the cell, it is again osmosis process. Further, from cell it goes to the lymph back and all those things I am not covering right now. Right now you need to understand the transfer of the nutrients. Now transfer of the garbages also can be explored through the same process, and where the reverse process, hydrostatic. So the reverse osmosis in our body is called biologically hydrostatic pressure. So which is artificially named as reverse osmosis. Yeah, Asha, I have named the densities. Okay, here you want me to write the density names. So D1 is, I think this is understandable from the figure. You might have put the question long back. After that I have given this. If it is not, then I'll write it. So try and understand. The osmotically it gets transferred to the blood, then reverse osmotically, or if biological language to be used, it is a hydrostatic pressure through which the blood transfers the nutrients to the limbs, and from the lymph it goes to the cell through the osmosis process. Now here we need to understand the lymph. So the lymphatic system, so the lymphatic system is an open system. We need to understand this. So the nature has created our body so scientifically. The blood circulatory system is a closed system where the pump will work. So the blood circulatory system is fitted with a pump through which the hydrostatic pressure occurs and the reverse osmosis occurs. Now the lymphatic system is an open system, it's not a closed system. So the pump will not work there, right? But in the process, the garbage accumulation is a fact. The toxin will be accumulated for sure in all the liquids, all the fluids in the body, irrespective of the types of the fluid. So be it blood or the lymph, the garbage will be there for sure. Now, if the garbage is there and that has to be thrown out, so how that can be thrown out, right? Now let's see how that garbage throwing happens. So here we understood the nutrients transfer. Now the garbage throwing. So garbage throwing, same from the cell also, the garbage throwing will be there. It will go to the lymph, then it will come to the blood. So the garbage is always higher denser, and without a pressure it will not be transferred. So with the garbage, the cellular pressure, the vitality works there. The cellular pressure actually in a catabolic process, it actually throws out the garbage to the lymph. So this is again hydrostatic pressure. I am writing here RO only for our understanding. Now here the garbages will come. Now this particular lymphatic system doesn't have any pump, as we understand, right? Now the garbages are to be thrown from the lymphatic system to the bloodstream, because finally the blood will be filtered through lungs, kidneys and the skin. So without transporting it to the blood, the garbage expulsion will not happen. The toxin expulsion will not happen. So now the problem occurs when this doesn't get a support of the forces. This garbage in the lymphatic system, so this is lymph, this is blood, and this is cell, this is cell, body cells. So try and understand this. So the reverse flow of the toxin requires a pump of pressure. So cell gives that pressure because of the increased density, and it's a spontaneous process because of the vitality within. If the vitality is not there, the cell will contain the toxin and it will perish. Now when that toxin comes to the lymphatic system, unless it is forced out to the blood, it will remain there only. You heard about the TB, lymphatic TB, tuberculosis. There's a primary reason where the lymph doesn't get clean. So now who will give that force? I'm repeating this. Who will give the force to throw out the garbage? So see the beauty of nature. I'll just show you. So this is our lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is this. You see the green. Let me check also how the visibility is there. Just do let me know whether it is visible at your end, the lymphatic system. Right. So this lymphatic system, what you see here is an open system, and each joints of our body does have the lymph nodes. And what is lymph nodes? Let's see that also. Now this is a lymphatic system. This way, this is kind of open system. The kind of open system. Now this is lymph node. This is lymph. Now this lymph node is quite similar to our pipeline system. So in the kitchen you will find that a kitchen outlet, if it is clogged, then this particular corner can be opened and it can be cleaned. So this corner is this lymph node where the garbages get accumulated if it is not forced out to the blood. So lymph nodes are the places where the toxins get accumulated. Right. Now, and these lymph nodes are throughout our body in the joints. In every joints there are ample number of lymph nodes. Every joints. Here also, here also, here also, everywhere in the joints there are concentrations of lymph nodes. Now that lymph nodes gets cleared with our physical activities. So this is the mechanism of the nature, that all the joints should be moved. All the joints should be moved to clear out the toxins. because it requires force. We understood that. It requires force to throw out, because this is a denser area. From the denser area to the less denser, naturally the toxins will not go unless you push it. So for any reverse osmosis process, you require to put a force, extra force. So that force is this exercise, because without exercising you will not be able to throw the toxins from the body, right? So the lymph node is very important aspect to understand. This is how it works. Yeah, so this is a capillary microcirculation. You'll see this hydrostatic pressure and osmotic pressure is explained. So whatever I have explained right now, I have just used few simpler language to explain, correlating with physics, but these are absolutely scientific data. Right, so that was the lymph nodes. So now Vikrant, tell me, will you move your joints? Because see, eating healthy is not enough. You need to throw out your toxin which is accumulated in the joints. And why to wait for symptomatic evolution, right? So this is very important to move our joints on a regular basis to throw out the toxin. So all the reasons that if we can now list out to increase the speed, then to have lesser density by increasing the speed, and to understand, identify and acknowledge the spinal importance, naval observation, and also the lymph node. Lymph node is the primary aspect of the exercises, right? Now correlating with the exercise, we need to remind ourselves about the breathing importance also. Yes, there is some question, it seems. How much force is needed? Is gentle exercise enough? Yes, gentle exercise is only required to have it, because this exercise is a kind of human intervention, you can say, you know. So we are meant to be active physically without straining ourselves. That is enough for clearing the toxins. So exercise is important, but without straining a lot. Yeah, stretching clears these nodes. Yes, absolutely. So stretching is a kind of this kind of exercises. This is the lymph node. Suppose this is lymph nodes. It's an open system. Now stretching will clear this. The toxins will flow, get a pressure, and it transport to the blood, and then through the kidneys, lungs, and skin, it should go away. Okay, is there a possibility, Sahana asks that, is there a possibility that body goes into catabolic stage due to over exercise? Absolutely, strenuous exercise will increase the metabolism, and the catabolism gets hiked during that process, but definitely the strenuous exercise is not at all recommended as far as the health is concerned. So many people will have different kind of profession or hobby for that matter, and for that reason, if you are doing strenuous exercise, then you need to actually compromise on other aspects of the life, because that day somebody was asking that for creative people, they need to work late nights and all those stuff, because it's a creative push they get from inside. Then what is the nature cure recommendation for that? Now see, vitality is vitality. Vitality doesn't understand your crave or craze for the creativity and all those stuff. Just that it understands that how much it is conserved, how much it is consumed. Now, if you are spending somewhere more vitality, then you have to actually compromise on few other aspects. For example, the creative people, if they wish to work late, then they need to actually conserve vitality in other aspects, maybe by choosing right food, always, no compromise at all. Maybe not mingling socially much, because social mingling will innervate sometime. So those kind of things needs to be curtailed down, right? So so for strenuous exercise, if it is a profession or a hobby which one cannot forego, then they need to think about the other aspects where they need to curtail vitality, because vitality is a common reservoir, you know. So if you are spending somewhere more, then somewhere you need to curtail it. Okay, so Nandini says that she had swollen lymph nodes on the neck last year, which corresponding lies on the head. Oh God, both sorted out after some months. Yes, that happens with the consistent conservation of vitality. The and conscious consistent conservation of vitality actually works miraculous. It works miraculously. Actually, we find that these are happening miraculously, but those are happening absolutely naturally and scientifically. Now, breathing importance is the last point that I would like to mention here. The synchronous breathing. The synchronous breathing is very much important. Yes. So I have a balloon here also, you know. So, oh, anyway, so what I was trying to show here is, when you stretch yourself, you should inhale. When you squeeze yourself, you should exhale. So stretching means filling the air in, and squeezing means throwing the air out. So this synchronization, because all the exercises will have these 4 steps like in the breathing, that stretch, hold, squeeze, hold, stretch, hold, squeeze, hold. Now inhale equals to stretch, hold is hold, then squeeze, exhale, then hold is hold, and so on. So this synchronization is very much important to have an effective circulation within the body. And with that note, I'll conclude this particular session on exercise, and we'll have a kind of 2-3 minutes break in between. What we'll do, we'll end this session and we'll switch over to another session, so that the topic wise the sessions are arranged at your end in the group, right? So that's I think better, and we will not have any concluding silence right now, but after the next session is over, we will have a concluding silence, and then we will break for breakfast today, right? So if you are typing some question, then you can carry on typing, post it as a comment. I will take up in the next session if you have, right? So the next session is I think it's the most important you can term after attending it, on the lifespan framework, right? Thank you. Yeah, Asha says that exercise also helps trapped gases to accept. Yes, gases are also toxin, right? Absolutely right.